Okay, thank you for being here today. Good morning for some of you, good afternoon for others, good evening for those who are in a certain part of the world. We are going to introduce ourselves before beginning this webinar. Please, Professor Elizabeth Poulet, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Elizabeth Poulet. I'm from ICN. I work basically in finance and banking, and I'm actually in charge of developing the DBA program for ICN.
Thank you very much, Professor Poulet. My name is Michel Kalika. I am Emeritus Professor from French University, and I'm President of Business Science Institute. My field of teaching is mainly strategy in executive education. Before going ahead, some technical advice, and then we will go through the presentation of Business Science Institute, and then Professor Poulet will present the ICN partnership, and then we will be available to answer your question. Technical issue, if you want to ask any question, you can raise the hand, you can put question on the chat or on question and answer here, but now everybody knows how to use Zoom. So some word to begin, please, some word about the Business Science Institute. The Business Science Institute has been created 10 years ago with the original idea to meet the demand of experienced manager holding an MBA or the equivalent of an MBA. And this manager, they wanted to take a step back from their managerial experience. They wanted to reflect on and write a thesis and publish articles, publish a book. That's the reason why we created the Business Science Institute, which is an academic international network organization. We organize different programs, online DBA, and we will be talking with Professor Poulet from ICN about the online DBA. We have also groups, face-to-face group in 10 locations in the world, and also a group online in French. And in this partnership is a partnership between Business Science Institute, ICN, and also the University of Lyon. And so at the end of the story, you receive 3 degrees, 3 diplomas, one from ICN, one from Business Science Institute, and another one from the Public University of Lyon, because you are registered in all these organizations. Our DBA is an AMBA accredited DBA program. That's very important internationally, because for the students, it's a guarantee of quality. Today, we have more than 230 DBA students. When I say DBA students, it's manager, you know, the average age is 45, and they are coming from 50 countries, and nearly 120 theses have been defended until now. 15 will be defended next week in Chateau de Versailles, where we will have the graduation ceremony next week. We have an annual DBA Managerial Impact Prize, and I mentioned that because our DBA is more than a degree. It's more than a diploma. The objective of the DBA is to permit to the students, to the manager that are working in this program, to permit them to create impact, to formulate recommendation. So it means that in the DBA program, we expect managerial impact, and every year there is an award about that. We publish books, and that's very important on our side. We publish 42 books. Half of them have been written by our faculty, and half of them have been written by our doctor. Here you have some example of the book that we publish, How to Successfully Complete Your DBA, the DBA Thesis Project in Practice, Research Method of the DBA, Qualitative Research, Let Your Data Speak, and also, and that's quite unique in the DBA field internationally, our doctor published a book, Doctors Advising Doctoral Students, with a series of advice. We focus on book because we think that it is very important to be clear on our expectation. And all these books, of course, are available on paper version or electronic version.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
I will give you some words about ICN. So ICN is part of the traditional grandes écoles as on the French system. Next slide. It has a long tradition in Nancy, but we have open campuses in Paris and Berlin. We are triple accredited, EQUIS, double ICSB and NBI, and we have a couple of labels as regards sustainable development, how we welcome foreign students, etc. We actually have 300 students, 80 co-faculty, 3,000, oh sorry, 3,000 students, among which we have quite a lot of foreign students. We have 80 co-faculty, among which we have international faculty that are formed abroad. And we have 70,500 graduate students over the world. Our main characteristic could be that we intend to provide innovative and transparent education. We put an accent on creativity, leadership, innovation, in order to form and to have responsible professional capable of acting in a global business environment. I mean, we very much intend to have this characteristic for our students. Okay. We will put an emphasis on how to transform the academic knowledge we give you into managerial practice. And in that way, the DBA, it's a good example of the program we intend to have. You will learn how to apply rigorous academic research to immediate impact. You will have a special emphasis on innovative and creative thinking. And this is part of our approach that is ARTEM, that means art, technology, and management. We want to develop for our students different approaches that are could be very useful in your everyday managerial practice. You will have the possibility to follow online lectures, and for you who are working, it will be a good advantage to be continuing your own business, your works, and to work autonomously on your thesis. And you will have an individual supervisor who help you to discuss the question of your thesis, etc. Okay. In our program, you will have 3 stages. The first stage is to give you the basic research skills that are necessary to be successful in your thesis. So you will have a certain numbers of methodological approach, plus a certain numbers of specialized module, which focus essentially on sustainable innovation management. Okay, during this stage, you will have regular discussion with your professor during the seminar and outside the seminar with your supervisor. And we hope that this discussion will improve your research question. The second stage will be devoted to your thesis specifically. That means to precise and your research question, to apply your methodology, your data under the supervision of an experienced professor, which would be your supervisor. And the third stage will be the completion of your thesis, that is the last step, which will normally guide you to the defense, the public defense, and in front of an international panel of examiner, which of course will satisfy our accredited rules. Okay. I give you the floor for the first part of the faculty member.
The faculty member for the program is composed of international faculty member from ICN on one side and from Business Science Institute on another side. The characteristic of Business Science Institute is to be a network organization. So it means that we have professors from all the world. You have here some example. Professor Françoise Chevalier, she is from HEC Paris. Professor Pierre-Jean Bengozi, she is from Polytechnique. It's a famous, most famous business engineering school in France. Professor Michel Bergada, she is professor in HEC Lausanne. Professor Cloutier is coming from Canada, is in UQAM, and Professor Mitev, she is in UK from London School of Economics.
From the part of ICN, you have Rebecca Stekelorum and Nicolas Renéry, who are French, but are one of the most important publishers in our school, and they have spent some time abroad, especially Nicolas Renéry, who is located in Berlin, and he will live several years in Canada. From Kamel comes from Tunisia. Philip Kitchen is from the UK, and Olivier Berthold is German. All these professors have a strong characteristic on the way they approach the research at the international level and also apply it on the practical aspect, managerial aspects. Okay.
Maybe we can focus on the seminar that will be organized by ICN.
Yes, you will see that you have 6 days that will be organized for you. That is driving sustainable strategic leadership in an international environment, sustainable marketing practice, green and sustainable finance, new trend in sustainable supply chain, sustainability in ICR, and sustainable behavior in business. You see that despite the characteristic of sustainability that is common from all these seminars, we have put an emphasis on every segment that could be of interest for you in management, so that depending on the research question you will have, you could have some elements that come from this lecture. And of course, you will be free to contact some of our professor, even beside the supervisor, if you are willing to have specific discussion on a certain point of your at the point of a research question, to have no idea on how sustainability could be applied on certain segment of managerial approach.
That's a characteristic of our joint program. It's the richness of the faculty. Here, you have the faculty of ICN, and they will organize a seminar during what we call Module 2 and Module 3, which are paradigm thematic. And the introduction of the program will be organized by Professor Elisabeth Poulet and myself, but also will teach Professor Bengozi, Professor Bergada about the question of research design, methodology choice, and so on. And then you will have a module on qualitative methodology, which will be organized by 3 professors that just published a book on the method of research for the DBA. It's Professor Mitev, Professor Chevalier, and Professor Martin Cloutier. And then you will have a seminar on quantitative methodology of research.
Mm.
How can you apply? Are you eligible?
Mm-hmm. You send us a CV and we will tell you if you are eligible to the DBA. Basically, you should have a number of years of experience, 5 years of experience, MBA or master. You should give us the highest and most recent qualification. Okay, and then you will have an answer on this eligibility. Don't forget also to write your research proposal, okay, the best you can at this level of when you submit it to us, and it will help us to understand on which type of topic you want to work, to identify the supervision or the professor who might be interested in your questions, to basically find the best mentor that enables you to be successful in your research and to defend your final document at the end.
The process, okay. The first step is you send the CV, and then you receive an answer quite quickly, go or no go, depending on your degree and your experience. And then if you have a positive answer from our support team, you have to apply formally, and all the application process is an online application process. When you send all the document, and you can do that quite quickly, we organize a formal interview with professor from ICN and Business Science Institute. And after this formal interview, you are admitted. And then there is a formal contract and so on. The program will begin in November. And the program is an online program. So maybe we can now answer the question. Any question? If you want to ask us question, you can put your question in discussion or chat or Q&R. I have a first question on my email. Thank you for the people who join during the conference. If you join late, don't worry. You will receive anyway the registration of our webinar. We know that you are professional and you are not always available, depending on the jet lag. You are not always available. Okay, so it's not an issue. The first question that I have on my email is about the schedule of the courses. When the courses are organized, Elizabeth?
I mean, it begins on November. You will have a series of 1 week lecturing, and then you will run a period of independent work in between the session. That means that you will have a certain number of knowledge that are given during the seminars. We take basically part on one week, let's say, depending on the day, what their program, etc. And after, you will have this time to work on what the concept we give you. And it is very important to do that, so that you can see if you have understood everything, if you have any question to ask to the professor who have done the seminar, or even to professor from the Business Science Institute of ICN if you want to complete, I mean, what was discussed during the seminars. And this is a way to make you progress on the research questions. That means to see what if what we are given you or as regard concept, etc., help you to progress and to redefine the topic that on which you want to work on. This is basically how the things are organized. And this will lengthen all the first year. Okay, so that means during the first year, you will have all the concept, all the tools, methodological tools, which help you to precise your research question. And at the end of the first year, we intend from you that at least you have a more specific, precise questions that enables you during the second and third year to progress with serenity on what you really want to study and to apply it to your, I mean, the business world of which you are, you have connection, or you are an enterprise, depending on what you want to do. Okay?
Yes, indeed. And one characteristic of our program is the responsiveness of the support team and also the availability of the faculty. You know, a key success factor in the DBA program is the availability of the professor. And in our partnership and in our organizations, we know that the main point is the responsiveness of the support team and the availability of the professor. For example, next week, we organize a face-to-face seminar, an international seminar in Paris, and next year it will be in Luxembourg. And during this seminar, we will have online defense, face-to-face defense, and also the students, they will have the opportunity to meet 60 professors face-to-face or online to present their subject, their thesis subject, to ask questions. And you know, when we make a survey about our alumni, and when we ask them what has been important, they told us the possibility, the opportunity to meet so many professors. That's exceptional, and our faculty is international, and that's an important issue.
And the fact that you discuss, I mean, with other person could help us to open the point of view you have on your research, to improve the way you are going to treat this question, etc. So do not hesitate to exchange with a professor, professional, etc., to see how you can better redefine, reprecise what you really want to study for your thesis.
Elizabeth, I have on my computer, I have another question about library and book. One student asked us, do I have access online to a database, a library database?
Yes, you will have access to our library online. You will do a session where you present our learning hub so that you can, there are certain numbers of books that are not completely available online, but the majority is available online. And it's the same with the database, I mean the data, so that you can access of what we have, see if it's sufficient for your thesis, or if you have to complete with other database. So you will have access to ours, to the Business Science Institute, which is quite a large amount of information. So you will have to, I mean, to treat this information to see what is relevant, not relevant, and afterwards to really focus on what would be necessary for you, I mean, obviously. And if something is missing, we can discuss and see if we can make it available for you so that you are not frustrated by not to have any part of the information, of course.
Absolutely. The problem is not the lack of information,
No.
it's the overload of information. All the book that I have been talking before, all the books are available online. And if you are in Europe, and if we can send you the book, you can also receive the paper version of the book. Everything is available, and that's very important for us. It's a way to support our students. We tell very clearly to the students what we do expect from them. That's why we have a very high rate of success, even if we are very exigent. Other question? Yes, we have another question about an important point, Elizabeth. It's about the supervisor. How is identified the supervisor, and when is identified the supervisor?
I mean, the supervisor can be identified very quickly as soon as we have the research question, right? Because we can, I mean, found some professor who are interested in your subject, right? As when you begin the research, normally this research question is going to have an evolution because you are reading books, you are searching information, etc. So if we see that the first supervisor is not completely adequate after a certain amount of months where you have work on your research question, we could also adapt and find a person that is more qualified or more engaged in this type of topic and change it. But I think that to have a supervisor very early help you at least to have some discussion. I mean, the first discussion that are necessary to not to feel alone in front of a research question, and to exchange and to see how you can improve what you have done, okay? And this improvement help us afterwards to find other professors who, even if they are not officially your supervisor, could help you on the particular point to progress on your question. So that means you could have an official supervisor which would be very tough in a very specific topic, and then ask questions on specific point of other professors which are more interested in a methodological question, for example, or who can be interested in the implementation on the managerial practice, etc. So, I mean, you will have support from our professor to improve your topic and to go until the end. That means until the defense.
Maybe, yeah, thank you, Professor Poulet. Maybe a question we answered before, but it was a participant who came later. A question about the degree. We have to be clear on that. At the end of the process, you will defend your thesis in front of a joint jury from professor from ICN and professor from the Science Institute. Generally, the defense is organized face-to-face, but when it is not possible, it is organized online. For example, next week, we will have some online defense of Chinese students because they cannot travel, they cannot move. And after the defense, you receive. the executive DBA from ICN,
Mm-hmm.
the executive DBA from Business Science Institute, and also the DBA from the University of Lyon. So you receive you receive three distinct degrees. And at the end of the first year, you are supposed to present your research project in front of a panel of faculty members, and you receive what we call the Certificate of Research in Business Administration. That is a validation, the first validation of your research question at the end of the first year. And of course, it has been validated before by your supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
Other question on the chat, or let me check on the email. On my side, no. Any question in the room from the participant? You can put your question on the chat or on Q&A. And anyway, you can also, after the webinar, ask us any question that you would like to ask. You will find all our mail on the website. I'm looking for the address of the website. Yes, you have here an address, contact@businessscienceinstitute.com, and you will
So
receive.
there are some questions. They say, what is the deadline to apply and when we regularly meet? Okay, so normally we intend at the very beginning to stop to accept
End of
application
September.
In October, but as it is online, you can apply quite late before the beginning of the program. Okay. It gives you time to, to do your choice, to be sure that you are willing to apply to this program and to write your research proposal. Okay, so you will have the time to apply to this question. And you said also, and when we regularly meet, so it will be. So you have the seminars, of course, and that we have explained. That means you have a seminar each month. You have an independent period where you can work between the seminars. So it is the formal meeting of the program, and you will have in place the meeting with your supervisor and with professor from ICN and Business Science Institute, if you want to discuss particular questions as regard the seminars, as regard your research question, okay? And this meeting will be online, okay? So all the meetings are online. So they can be very regular, and there will be a certain numbers of formal meeting, let's say once a month with your supervisor, which it doesn't mean that you are not capable of reaching professor and have more meeting online if you need it, or if you are willing to discuss a certain number of points. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, precisely about the date. We will begin. Generally, the seminar are on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. It's a session from 3 hours. It depends where you are, excuse me. If you are in Europe, it will be from 1 o'clock to 4:30. But each seminar is recorded. So if you cannot attend, you will be able to see the seminar when you are available. And for example, during the first week, and we can send you, if you send us your email, we will send you the planning, because now the planning is absolutely clear. It's done. For the first week, it will be November the 2, November the 4th, and November the 5th. Each time you have a seminar of 3 hours and a half. And then the week after, it will be on the 9th of November, 11 and 12 of November. And then you work independently. And in December, again, you have 2 weeks, and each week's 3 seminars. And that's like that 5 times until the end of the first year. But send us your email, and you will receive the planning.
When we say independent study, that means we will give you time between the seminars to work on the concept, on the information we give you. And it's important for you that you integrate this knowledge in order afterwards to apply to your own research and to see if you have understood absolutely everything, if it is useful or not. And this will help you to progress in the definition of the question you want to study. So this is a work that is not done during the seminars, but is done independently. That means you and your supervisor or faculty members of ICN or Business Science Institute. And you have to do this work so that you progress in your research question. Okay?
Yes, I have seen we see your email. You will receive the planning with the topic of the seminar. The first seminar during the 2 first weeks are about the design of research. What is a DBA, how to manage a DBA, how to formulate a research question, and so on. It will be the 2 first weeks. And then you will begin what we call the thematic paradigms. And you have here on this slide the 6 thematic. And for each thematic, you have a different professor. That's a choice. That's a choice that we did. We want to put in front of you many different faculty members, because each faculty member will bring to you something different. And it will bring also an opportunity of supervision of your thesis.
And also, we found a different way to define your research question. So, somebody would tell you, okay, for this question, it's better to do quantitative analysis, case study. And this would give you different point of view so that afterwards you are capable of using them to define your own question, how it can be implemented in your business or on managerial practice, etc.
Absolutely. Yeah. Other question concerning the fees and installment getting divided into 3 years and not only 2. Oh, we are faculty member and we are not in charge of administrative issue. But if you contact the support team, they will answer to all this administrative issue. We know that it is possible, but because we are faculty, we don't manage the financial issue. So my advice is, first, send your CV to the address that I mentioned before. I put it again on the slide. Yeah, it's here, contact@businessscienceinstitute.com, and it's also on the website. and then you will have an answer, and ask to the person that you will be in contact with if how it is possible to organize the installment, the payment.
Mm-hmm.
Any other question?
No,
no, not on my side. I check, and it's time to finish.
Okay.
You must listen the alarm because we work online. We respect the agenda and the schedule. So I check. Do you see any other question, Professor Poulet? No, I think it's okay.
No. I think we answer everything.
Okay. So thank you to the participant to this webinar, whatever you are, and we don't know from where you connect to tonight. And thank you, Professor Poulet, for being available. Of course, Professor Poulet and myself and all the support team of the two institutions, we are available to answer to you quite quickly. Don't hesitate to ask any question. You have here a contact, and don't hesitate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.